What if I told you Need for Speed Unbound, I believe, was killed by EA on purpose? That would be weird, right? I would love right now to be talking about the next Need for Speed game, but before we do that, I'm gonna crash into a wall and just put these two games on the screen. What do they have in common? I'll give you a second. These two games have in common that the studios were essentially destroyed, shut down, dismantled as soon as these two games came out. One of which may not have done so well, and the other one, well, it was the most successful modern Need for Speed to have existed in a very long time, if not the most successful on record. Just to be completely clear, technically it was Need for Speed Payback, but I'll explain the details a little bit later, just in case you don't know them. But let's get into the details, shall we? I'll start with this. If you're a big Need for Speed fan, you'll remember this like it was just yesterday. We were super excited about a new Need for Speed finally coming after a bit of a delay of Criterion working on Battlefield. And all of a sudden, what the hell? There's a rapper man, ASAP Rocky, in the game. It was pretty cool. I like it. All right, I like it. If you check out the description, it was actually revealed on the 6th of October, 2022. And again, if you went looking for the information, you would have known the Palace edition of the game came out on the 29th of November. So what, a month and a couple of weeks after the reveal of the game. That is unheard of. I've never seen anything like that in all of time. This is a AAA big budget game, a decently large budget game. And the official comment from developers is we wanted to try a closer window. We didn't want to reveal it in the summer and then all of us, we had to wait 6 months and we have to keep the content flowing. What we wanted to do is release it and all of a sudden you get a barrage of content and oh my god, the game is out. We wanted to try something different. I say that, my friends, is absolute bollocks. That makes no sense on any level or all research of all time. And even if it was, it made no sense that after the launch of the game, EA basically didn't mention it once. Thanks to Eurogamer for keeping this article up, this beautiful review of Need for Speed Unbound, and where they actually said it's a pretty good game. Why is EA not talking about it? Yeah, they specifically said that. A new Need for Speed game comes out to zero fanfare and turns out to be pretty decent. Decent enough even to feel like a return to form for EA's long-running series after it experienced a follow spell. I mean, look. Hey, here's a completely different article they also did about the bad bit, in where they reference the previous statement. If they even noticed it. So why the hell did EA completely hide Need for Speed Unbound to basically, in my opinion, be the detrimental reason as to why the game failed? I don't care your opinion on the game, it's a Need for Speed game. A Forza game is the same as the previous ones, they never try anything. So why would EA do this? It makes no sense. They spent the money to make the game and then they just don't advertise it. It's pretty much 101. It's the basis of getting your game out there. I even had trouble getting an early code that wasn't available for some bollocks reason as well. Well, I've kind of figured it out thanks to one particular piece of information, one extra item that came out for Need for Speed Unbound very recently. So to the point, this is the cover we got, and this, my friends, is the cover that we were supposed to get, and it looks so freaking sick. Shout out to The Quicksilver for finding this artwork and actually a little bit more. The reason this stuff comes out is usually because there's a bit of an embargo, a bit of an NDA that essentially happens until you can release this stuff, and then it's just fair game. These covers were created by Richard Merrill. Is that how you would say it? Did I get it right? Or Richard Merrill, as you would say it in English. Anyway, these are some of the alternative covers or the concepts for covers that could have seen the light of day. And as you'll notice, in every single one of them, they focus on ASAP Rocky, not just the car. Look, they paid for this rapper man to be the cover and get down with the kids. Whether that was a success or a fail, we'll talk about later. But ultimately, they clearly wanted him to be front and center, and they decided to not go with that with the final cover. If that was the cover, or just the cover for like the collector's edition, the Palace edition, if you will, my goodness. Also, cat. Hello, cat. So a little birdie told me, and I don't know if they want to be publicly announced or not, so I'm not going to do that right now. But a little birdie told me that this was very much going to be the cover until it wasn't. And there is a reason as to why. And it's incredibly obvious And I don't know why I only just figured this out. So here's the information. In August 2022, 2 months before the reveal of the game, A$AP Rocky was charged with an offense with a weapon. Not the best look for a game, and therefore EA was like, bah! Get rid of him. Do not push this game. The game is done. It is over. A$AP Rocky, how could you do this? August 15th, 2022, with 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm for alleged firing a handgun in the direction of Terrell. But if you look at the article that this is a part of, he was found not guilty. Yeah. Now, I know all of you are not massive rap fans. However, A$AP Rocky is an incredibly safe character to put into your game. Of all the rappers and all the gangbanging and all that kind of stuff that's linked to rap, A$AP Rocky is one of the safest options you could have gone with. He keeps his toes out of it. He stays in, he keeps out the way. And another thing, in the trailer itself, we got this part.
I'll let you have that.
And I just, ever since I saw it, I can't help but think this was supposed to be a big final race. There was supposed to be more cutscenes with A$AP Rocky. To make just cutscenes for the trailer, quite frankly, makes very little sense. So, of course, it could have been rushed development because, you know, EA. But it also could have been the fact that that was removed because they wanted to maybe pull away a little bit just because they put so much investment into someone that potentially had got assault charges and almost killed somebody. So in response, EA hid the game, didn't advertise the game as to not be associated with a rapper that, you know, potentially had a firearm charge against them, a genuine one. Again, turned out to not be true at all, but they put so much effort of the game and focus of the game into this safe rapper for it to only kind of be thrown back in their faces. But again, not guilty. It is incredibly frustrating, but at the same time, why did they bother at all adding a rapper that maybe a lot of people that play Need for Speed don't necessarily know about? What were they doing? What was the point? Was it necessary? Was it needed, EA? And maybe is kind of the answer. What they needed is the game to look different from the others. That's what they said themselves.
Okay, let's start with why we added stylized driving effects to Need for Speed. Okay. Very early in our pre-production, one of our art directors showed this collection of screenshots from 6 current racing games, one of which is a Need for Speed game, and it's not immediately obvious which one is which unless you look closely or you're a racing game expert. This isn't to disrespect these games, which all look beautiful and they're inspirational for us, but they all look beautiful in the same hyper-real way. We wanted to find a way to stand out by making a bold visual statement and challenge conventions to try and get Need for Speed back into the conversation. Okay,
pretty obvious. With this, the rap kind of angle, in pretty much every way they went with Need for Speed Unbound to try and make it different. Clearly, they were trying to make it different. And ultimately, we got a product that was fine. I think I enjoyed mostly Need for Speed Unbound, but again, Need for Speed Heat clearly was a major, massive success by comparison, and all it really did is focus on the core basics. Illegal street racing and the rival being police, the kind of main enemy of the game, focused in on, and it was a huge, massive success. So, the question there then, my friends, is was it actually worth it to make the game different? Because clearly the game didn't do as well as Need for Speed Heat, but now it adds into the question, was that actually the fault of the game being different, or was that EA's fault? They did clearly no effort to advertise and push this game whatsoever, therefore essentially signing away it to die. For no reason whatsoever. I mean, it ended up being no reason whatsoever. Previously, it was a possible assault charge and you having the man on the cover. But I think due to that, they're probably not going to do a focus down on rappers as the primary focus ever again. And whose fault was this? I mean, EA signed off on the idea. Criterion went forward to EA with this idea. Ultimately, it was a combination of both of their faults. And I don't think there's one singular person to blame. But overall, it was maybe a little bit weird to put so much focus onto a character and then not put him in the game that much. Whether it was diluted or it was just never done, it really wasn't there enough for it to make a difference. And I guess therefore to not release the game, but to do so quietly It's really fucking you just shot yourself in the foot for what reason? I'm gonna sit here and do the argument that Need for Speed is different, and that's why we love it so much. We are crazy about Need for Speed, whether it is a average game or a really great game. I enjoy them. Like, I can't tell you one Need for Speed I properly didn't enjoy. I enjoyed Most Wanted on DS, okay? I can play through anything. Need for Speed has the substance of a world. It knows that the cars partake in a story. There's purpose behind these cars. It's not just, oh, I have 900 cars, therefore I'm the best racing it. No, we're looking for a game that is based on cars. We're not looking for, oh, we're the most realistic driving simulator. Oh, look, you've got Supercar Blondie in the game. I love Supercar Blondie. No! Can you imagine having a massive success? Need for Speed, once again, breaking 15 million copies with a new game. This is amazing. We've not hit this stride in a long time. Shut the studio down. The decision was officially made when Need for Speed Payback was a failure based on the loot boxes that were added to the game. It was an EA push on all games, and they needed someone to blame. This is the official story, and I'm saying it. I don't care. I've not been told this, but this is very clear to me that both Battlefront and Need for Speed Payback had the same loot box systems in the game, and only one studio got shuttered and destroyed because of it. They took the blame. This was clearly an EA thing because they were trying to put it in every single title that there was, and it didn't ruin the game. It was fine. It was better to the point where they didn't even have to remove the system from the game like they did in Battlefront. They removed the whole system from memory. But what is clear is that EA is way too slow at looking at numbers and success, or they make firm decisions and don't go, oh no, we've just had a major success. Let's change our minds. No, let's completely shut down this studio. What you could have had is two studios working on different things. But now you have no studios working on Need for Speed because you're moronic buffoons and you think everyone's going to buy the next Battlefield. Guess what? I am not. And I'm recommending to my viewers to not buy the new Battlefield as well. Because I feel like, if I'm honest, if Battlefield is a massive success, we'll never get another EA game that isn't like rated sports ever again. But if it does really terribly, we also lose everyone. So it needs to do just fine. So if you're not going to buy Battlefield, don't buy Battlefield. If you're going to buy Battlefield, buy a Battlefield. The game needs to do okay. And I will make sure of it. Something that even EA themselves understands is that games media allows us to live out fantasies that we would never be able to be part of. Their biggest games, their biggest money makers, FIFA and all the other 50 sports games that they piss and do. F1, you think anyone's going to ever be an F1 driver? No, that's why they wanted it, because they know themselves that people want to experience things that they just will never have the possibility of doing. And yet they still don't understand Need for Speed. I don't want to be a street racer, okay? But I do in a video game. I hate speeders. Unless they're in a national speed, then it's fine. I do 20 in a 20 because I'm that person. Even if you're riding my ass, I'm gonna go even slower. I'm that guy. I follow the rules. But in Need for Speed, I don't have to. And that's why I like it so much. It's fucking fantasy. It stops me doing it in real life. So EA killed Need for Speed because of loot boxes and Need for Speed Payback, and then they killed it again because they approved the idea of ASAP Rocky being in the game and then hid the game and it failed in a way. I mean, it's clearly still in the charts on PSN, like constantly. It's on the top page. Racing games over time sell, and a lot of people still just probably don't really know that this game is here. It also came out during like the console shortage. No one could get a damn PlayStation or anything. But clearly the biggest thing was that EA decided the game should not be advertised because, once again, a decision that they agreed with or decided at the time was seen as not a good idea. So EA is stupid.